Welcome everyone to an update to yesterday's breaking news. AMD CPUs, latest, even Zen 3, nearly latest, have major AVX state corruption bugs, and I have some more updates because I today wasted way too much time looking into this. So turns out this is not even fixed, right? Some AMD close or so engineer set on Linux kernel mailing list looks like some here somewhere looks like some CPU errata there, where it was, right? And wherever that was, but yeah, this sounds suspiciously like an errata which was fixed with Ucode update last year. So the thing is, there is no public microcode update for any of those CPUs, and I now wasted like my whole afternoon on this nonsense, because turned out, of course, I tested that, right? So not only actually could have been more professional and have so not only even the Steam Deck is affected, right? So the precious state-of-the-art showcase of desktop Linux gaming is affected by AVX state corruption, potentially. Again, it's maybe not super easy to trigger, but CPUs should also not have major bugs, right? That are relatively easy to reproduce. So what is the issue? As we have seen yesterday, even the Ryzen 5950X is affected, right? And you would think, yeah, they say there is some microcode update, right? So I naively, like similar to you, assumed, oh no, I just closed it. There's some microcode update, right? So this is the README to the Linux firmware AMD microcode updates, and this is very few, right? I thought like the Family 19 hex stuff for the Zen 3 applies to many of those, but no, it doesn't. So while some AMD spokesperson and developers say, hey, here's some microcode update, and it's in Linux firmware, this bloody microcode update applies to next to nothing, right? This is some like optical illusion of, hey, there is some fixes, like fixes nothing. So I checked this, right? So this microcode update, I spent way more time looking into this than I wanted, including rebuilding a kernel, because initially I updated all of this, I rebooted and still had this bug. And so I naturally spent like an hour extra to debug whether I do all this initRD stuff, right, and so on, including instrumenting the kernel, obviously, edit the kernel. By the way, there is some, this is, by the way, after studying all those codes, this line, by the way, is in operation. I will send a Linux kernel patch to Linus Torvalds. So like, yeah, this line, by the way, doesn't do anything, because it is a local variable there, and like incrementing that does basically nothing. But anyway, so that is what you see here, because I was wondering, like, hey, they say there's an update. So so this instrumentation and is my print K there, because 2023 is still debugging your monolithic Linux kernel with print K. And so these are all the, because I wasn't sure whether this initRD early loading stuff has any effect and stuff. So this is the EAX CPU ID of my Ryzen 5950X. And these are the patches here. So that is these are all the CPU ID EAX model and stuff, stepping model family and stuff for all the patches. So very, very few patches, right? So I patched this here only so long story short, this matches nothing, right? And I checked, so none of my AMD, and I'm kind of an AMD fan, right? It's not like I'm an Intel chill, no. Actually, because due to Intel's bugs and features and shady marketing practices and stuff, I have a Phenom there. I mean, even when AMD was not amazing, I brought in my company, because for Linux actually wasn't that bad, Phenom, right? So even my Phenom doesn't match anything. The Ryzen 3950X matches nothing. My latest and greatest Ryzen 7950X matches nothing, right? And you see this when you load this file here. So in the Family 19 here, when you look at Wikichips Family 19, right? So that is extended family. So all of this modern Ryzen are Family 19 hex. So this update. And so did I, yeah, so I decoded that let's check with my DMAX only. So yeah, this was only 19, a whatever. A whatever, yeah, so only that my code breaks out now early there. So that is correct, because you could also not trust that the README includes all the patches, right? So this doesn't match because my Ryzen here has extended model, whatever was it. So yeah, you see details. So Ryzen 5950X is extended model 33. What is it in the X? Oh, come on. I don't have this anyway. Whichever that was, extended model Ryzen. Oh wait, it was probably, was it listed here? Was it 2? Oh wait a second. We see this in my, no, I just switched that off. We see that here, so that is, I have 2, yeah, so this patch is for 0, so I have 2, so 2 is extended model 2, yeah, so Zen 3, Ryzen 5000, and so on. And yeah, so for all of those CPUs listed here, Ryzen 7000, APUs, non-APUs, Raphael, Rembrandt, Ryzen 5000, it's like, yeah, so the last microcode update that matches, so only for older, the last microcode update for family 19 hex is Zen 3, early Zen 3, Epic Threadripper, but not extended model, not any of those Ryzen 5000 mehr. It's, so yeah, so that means neither, even if you wanted to, there is not a microcode upgrade, neither for the Steam Deck nor for enthusiast stuff. And in my opinion, that is not Versi, right? If you would expect from an, I'm really disappointed. You would think that major, well, this is not like some small startup house like Transmeta or VIA, which I said in the previous video, VIA known notoriously for never publishing CPU writers, right? These are the two major, it's not like all winner or all the other small Broadcom and stuff vendors with more bugs than features in their CPUs. And with all the Intel Spectre and Meltdown bugs and mitigations, at least Intel publishes more often microcode. I was already wondering that, I was already suspicious because the firmware here, firmware Intel Ucode is way larger, right? So all of the, and that probably doesn't even match to all CPUs, but at least Intel has a 12 megabyte of microcode of published stuff, and AMD only 64 freaking K, right? Which applies to next to nothing, which I now find out, right? So much to all the infrastructure in Linux. And then for AMD CPU, it's like, yeah, Phenom X2, Ryzen 1350X, 59, like basically nothing, right? The Google engineer there is lucky that they were running on a Threadripper. Yeah, so the Threadripper. By the way, I tried to patch this here. So this code is not original. The original was here signature equals. So the signature is the EAX level 1 CPU ID, and I mask that here because, as you've seen, my model here, so I basically mask the extended model away so that this has a chance to apply, but it doesn't load. I suspect I didn't debug it. Like after 1 hour I stopped. So I mean, obviously this, or like maybe if you continue, but no, I think the CPU will not affect the CPU will not accept that. They're probably, so like, where is it? Verify, apply patch or somewhere. And of course the AMD engineers were not like, yeah, probably here, native, right, model specific register, patch loader, here of this patch data, and verify application was successful, and I don't have a print K here, but I suspect that is a code where it fails. But I'm not rebuilding the kernel and rebooting it again. I'm tired of this nonsense now. I kind of wonder, the problem is always reaching out to those companies, right? Theoretically, like maybe run this code, whether your CPU is affected, and send your local AMD representative an email. I think this needs more public attention. And as I said, these are AAA quality, AAA quality, high performance enthusiast CPUs. And for that, we should get proper microcode updates, right? It's like the vendors like Intel and AMD, they sell with like obviously x86 and their surrounding features so complex that they are obviously full with bugs. And then at least I would expect on their website to publish regular microcode fixes, right? That people can load that. And not left alone with bug then, because obviously we can't fix them ourselves, right? This most likely is cryptographically signed. So that, I mean, obviously we don't know the format there. And there are people who reverse engineer that for other Intel Atom and stuff, for which the microcode is now partially reverse engineered. But it's not like we can patch that ourselves, right? Due to the closed nature, we rely on Intel and AMD to provide those patches in the microcode for their bugs, and we don't get them. They provide this optical illusion of, hey, there is something. And if you Google that, you find on the internet that many enthusiast Linux users are wondering that they don't get a microcode update, right? And probably very few instrument the kernel and see what's going on there. It's like, yeah, dude, I mean, you see this already from the README. You don't even need to instrument that further. It's enough as a documented there. Like if your CPU model doesn't match. I initially was wondering, this is why I masked that here. I was actually wondering whether maybe this is like a base model and not extended, but yeah, you see it doesn't apply. And also here were other once upon a time, not here. So because all of this extended model is, I don't know where this, except maybe this one. I don't know how many bits was that wide. Model is here 4 bits. So yeah, so this is the only, where is it now? Did I not just hit a, oh, this was stepping. Yeah, so this one. This is, here's also one. So yeah, it's not like the high bits are to be ignored. And yeah, also, so the bug might apparently be, because they further discuss here, does it work for you when you disable XSave? And also, by the way, there is some like, yeah, other people is like disappointed that they don't publish this microcode stuff better. And so other people agree, given that AMD appears to have majorly screwed up here, and the exploit does not reliably work on modern versions of Linux and up-to-date firmware. And there is no freaking microcode update for this stuff. So it needs to be table of authors and 2 parts, microcode revisions, or disable XSave. So the problem appears to be XSave. So apparently the kernel using XSave to save this massive amount of AVX states of all these very wide registers. And apparently maybe specifically the XSave C, save process extended state with compaction, because there's so much data clobbering the caches and stuff. Let's compact that. So I don't know, I have not debugged whether it's XSave or XSave C with compaction, but some of those details. So it appears to be, probably want to watch this video there from yesterday, but it appears to me that somehow, first messages and thread, that here this context switching, this is also why this hammering that with context switching shows this bug, triggers this bug. And as far as I can see, it's probably that the processor does somehow, yeah, probably save. I would guess save, like not the right registers, right? So, what Omari here says, Travis Omandi says rollback. So I guess in the CPU pipeline, it's somehow using a not up-to-date value of not flushing the state or having this marked as dirty or however AMD is handling that. Yeah, it is crazy that this is not handled more professionally, right? In my opinion, for a serious company, they now apparently, given that is some known errata, that there should be more disclosure and more updates, and not people. It's like, yeah, you never know what supercomputer miscomputes some data. Some self-driving car drives into some tree. Some rocket makes a 180-degree turn and crashes back into Earth, or misses Mars or Moon. Stuff like that, right? And that's it for this video. I'm just disappointed that, yeah, that's how it is. And that, as usual, companies leave users alone and just, it's like, yeah. Thanks for buying your processor. We have your money. You can also buy a new processor if you want. New, faster one. But yeah, leave in the comments what you think. I'm out. Have a good day or night. And I hope you learned something.